Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
We're just a couple of couch potatoes in love that love watching the Clone Wars.
Yeah, we're a couple of potatoes.
Yeah. And so this is season 6, episode 6, The Rise of Clovis.
Ugh.
Anakin's hatred of Clovis strains his relationship with Padme. Yeah, but now we gotta be Team Anakin on this one.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want all of our Clone Wars reactions, check out the description of this video. We got a playlist there for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Boo, boo, boo. Jealousy is the path to chaos.
It's definitely one of them.
Yeah, it's a path.
We have confirmed that Rush Clovis was on the Jedi ship.
Then there's nothing we can do.
But they have the files.
But they need more than just files to incriminate us.
Will all be destroyed.
We must remain calm.
Oh, so they...
I want it noted that you and you alone allowed this to happen.
Clovis was telling the truth. I mean, I guess Palpatine just wants chaos, so if the banking system fails.
That's chaos.
And chaos is a ladder.
Clovis, the Senator, and the Jedi are on their way.
Then we can continue to the next stage of the proceedings.
What about me?
You will be protected, I can assure you.
Yeah. Is that a face you can't... That looks like a face you can trust.
Sure.
Adventures have you had on Scipio?
Have you met Rush Clovis?
Met we have, yes. Much distrust is focused upon you.
But I hope to right the wrongs that I have done.
Delay. We must not.
Excuse me if I find it hard to trust you, Clovis.
But there is corruption in the banks. I believe the ones responsible should be ousted from control before the entire banking infrastructure collapses. I came here to root out the criminals and reveal the truth.
We are grateful for you bringing us this information, but what exactly can you prove?
These files show that huge funds have been diverted out of the banks.
And the veracity of this information.
I was the one who downloaded the files from the Mutant Secure mainframe.
Then, Senator Amidala, work closely with Rush Clovis and find and expose the secret accounts. Once we know exactly what we are dealing with,
Ooh, he's getting the stink eye.
Why didn't you just say no?
Say no. Why?
I don't want you working with Clovis.
You're just going to have to trust my judgment here.
Like the last time, When you almost ended up dead? As your husband, I demand that you tell the Chancellor you are stepping down.
Demand.
Yeah.
I am not foolish enough to allow myself to be deceived twice, Anakin. My sole intentions are to defend the Republic.
Excuse the interruption. Shall we begin?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, dude. I mean, how did you think it was going to go down when you say, I demand?
Yeah.
Whatever.
As your husband, I demand.
Darth
I
Tyrant
wouldn't even be able to get French toast that way.
Clovis. He appears to have lost his way. Going to help him take over the banking clan. First, you must entrap him, so he has no one else to turn to.
Oh.
I've been looking for you.
Something wrong?
Master Yoda feels that your judgments concerning Rush Clovis are clouded. I sense a deep anger in you by my simply saying his name.
He almost got Senator Amidala killed.
She's quite capable of taking care of herself.
They had a relationship. Once, I simply feel she is vulnerable to her emotions.
Oh, shit. Exactly.
I understand to a degree what is going on. You've met Satine. You know I once harbored feelings for her.
Senator Amidala and I are simply friends.
Is he having the birds and the bees talk with Anakin?
As a Jedi, it is essential you make the right choice, Anakin.
I understand my responsibilities.
Like, seriously, he's in his room playing with his toys.
Obi-Wan's calm and sat on the edge of the bed.
They have no relationship. It is simply business between them.
Then we should have no problems, should we?
If you look here, the Separatists haven't been repaying any interest on their loans.
But where have all the savings gone?
Shows hundreds and hundreds of small withdrawals. But as a sum total, a devastating theft.
We need to find out who's benefiting. We're still lacking a critical piece of information.
She's got that Leia look.
This would be highly dangerous information should it get into the wrong hands.
When we had 3 nights to prepare for the Senate hearing to rescue Bromlark's planetary aqueduct system.
And together we saved a people from total drought and famine.
We're not as young as we used to be.
We're not that old either.
Oh!
Perhaps we should eat something.
What do you want? This like tomato spread or like just a big piece of chicken like leg?
The system works. The Munes aren't bad people. It's just a dishonest few who are destroying everything for their own gain.
You've never told me how you rose to such heights within the banking clan.
My father was a personal attaché to the household of one of the head Mune families. We were basically servants. As I grew up, the head of the family took a personal interest in my education. When my parents and his wife were killed in a shuttle accident, he adopted me.
That must have been very hard.
I almost forgot where I was from until I looked in the mirror.
They sound like good people.
Most Munes are. And they want this corruption ended more than I do. I have many allies, should I need to call on them.
This guy's got a good game.
Appreciate how personal this was for you.
Drinks, dinner, tell a sad story about your childhood.
I'm here, aren't I?
I don't think I would have had the strength alone.
Clovis, don't.
It's that Jedi, isn't it?
We're friends. Nothing more.
Friends don't argue the way I saw you argue. He would be banished from the Order, would he not?
There is nothing romantic between he and I.
There is absolutely nothing to stop us from doing this.
Clovis! Clovis, no!
Unless she doesn't want you to.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, shit! Oh!
Anakin, no!
Why don't you try fighting like a man without your Jedi tricks?
Oh, it would be my pleasure.
Oh! Oh, damn.
Stop this!
You don't have a say in this.
Oh! You don't have a say in this?
You said he didn't have feelings for you.
I see you for what you truly are.
Ah, broke his hand.
You're a serpent, a traitor.
Ooh.
Please, stop this!
I like the music in this.
You should accept that the Senator has other interests than you.
Oof.
Anakin, stop!
He's gonna hit her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Whew.
Is everything okay?
Good. I was so afraid his fist was gonna fly back and hit
Yeah.
her.
He let the hate flow.
There was an attack. It was my good fortune to have General Skywalker here.
Is that what happened, sir?
If that's what the man says.
A medic droid is on its way.
Padme,
Stay away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was not a good look.
I mean, you went from I demand as your husband to you don't get a say in this? And Clovis was a dick too. Clovis was, well, there's nothing to stop us unless you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
another boyfriend. Well, no is no, dude.
The thing to stop us is I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Padme. I don't know what came over me.
What's done is done.
It's just when I saw you about to kiss him.
And I regret that it was not what you thought. I've told you why I'm doing this, but still you refuse to accept it. You could have killed him, Anakin.
I know.
Yeah.
This marriage is not a marriage, Anakin, if there isn't any trust.
Yep.
Other people who are married have everything that we don't, everything that we won't. Like it or not, our relationship is built on lies and deception.
It's just something inside me snapped.
I don't know who's in there sometimes. I just know that I'm not happy anymore. I think it's best if we don't see each other anymore. At least not for a while. I'm sorry, Anakin.
I'm sorry too.
Everything all right, Senator?
No.
Honest answer.
Such an odd expression to hear, though. Like, I don't think we should see each other anymore for a married
Yeah.
couple. Like, it's kind of tells you a lot about their circumstances.
We were on a break.
Okay, Ross Geller.
But more importantly, someone wants to speak with you. I am a servant of Count Dooku.
Uh-oh.
Huh. That's something you never want to hear.
Yeah.
It appears we have a mutual problem.
I know the Separatists have not been repaying their loans to the banks.
Why would we support corruption?
They've allowed you to borrow credits and not pay any interest.
But that information, if made public, will only bring war to Scipio, and the banks will fall. So in the interests of all, I suggest we come to some arrangement. The banks need new management, and that it could be you.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were afraid.
I prefer the term careful. I can give you the location of the secret accounts you are searching for, so you can plead your case to the Senate. We'll even start paying the interest on our loans to show the Republic our full endorsement. The location of the accounts are on this disc.
Now, where were we?
I don't get that droid out of my room so fast.
We are indebted to Rush Clovis for his service to our people.
I have done only what I thought was right.
It appears that the Separatist government has agreed to allow you to be the new head of the banks. I can only give you my endorsement.
Now all that stands in your way is the Senate.
Why would they trust this guy in the Senate?
Especially if he's endorsed by the Separatists. I would think there would be a thing not in his favor.
Yep.
Irrefutable evidence that the heads of the banking clan have been stealing funds. I know the Munes to be a good and honest people. I humbly ask you for your nomination in taking over the banks. I will restore order and return the banks back to secure and neutral negotiations. I vow to be impartial and show no favor to either side in this war.
It is the Separatist ties to Rush Clovis that has allowed them to accept this nomination.
Now you're being played.
I believe that in these dangerous times, bank must be protected at all costs.
Then we shall put it to a vote. A resounding majority in support of the nomination.
No support from Anakin.
I can tell this has been a difficult time. I've known you too long not to see something is troubling you.
You have made a mistake by trusting Clovis.
Rest assured, my public endorsement of Clovis is not the same as my private confidence in him. I don't dispute your distrust of him. I think there is something we haven't unearthed yet.
But people have been hurt. Could be hurt in the process.
Let us make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, to gain more favor with it. Anakin?
It's not a bad plan because when you've been in, I was going to say a long-term relationship, but it doesn't even need to be a long-term relationship. If you're really in love with someone and there's a breakup, there's a rift, there's a, hey, we need to spend some time apart, whatever the case may be, you as a person become incredibly vulnerable because it is on a level a rejection. Even if you were to get back together, I mean, like, it is a rejection on that level of some aspect in that moment. And so you feel vulnerable. You question, what's wrong with me? Like, that's. You know what? There's a lot wrong with you, little one. You are so opinionated. Hi. For those who haven't been following or haven't met him yet, this is Bucky. Bucky Barks. When he acts like this, we call him the Winter Soldier because he's a terror.
And there was a litter of puppies. There was like 7 of them. And one of them was like all asleep on my arm. It was like really sweet. And then there was this one. And like he was like barking and singing. And like he kissed my nose. And that was really cute. But like, I mean, he was like very, he had a personality. And then Bethany's like, well, we got to get the one with the personality. And this is what we get.
This is what we get.
But you were saying.
So I think in the Chancellor's brilliant manipulation of Anakin, this is yet another really important piece because if Anakin doesn't have Padme, a source of reasonable counsel, a source of diplomacy, a source of kind of do or die for the Republic, she really would do anything for the Republic and its people. He will become easier for the Chancellor to manipulate and easier to maneuver him into positions that are against his interests and the Jedi interests. Because while Obi-Wan is a great influence, we have seen that he is not as close with Anakin in proximity lately because he has his own missions and his own things that he has to go off and do. So the person who was probably the closest in proximity to Anakin on a consistent basis was Padme by the nature of their marriage, and take her out of the equation and he becomes a lot more open to unsavory counsel from unsavory people.
I just can't believe that this was all, I mean, Anakin is super powerful, but like, that's a lot to go through just for like to curry more favor with Anakin. But we've talked about before, like that is like what manipulators and abusers will do, is that they'll like isolate you to make you feel like you can't go to anybody else, you can't trust anybody else, and like you can, like they're the only ones that you can trust and take care of you, and you can count on and everything like that. And that's how they brainwash you. I loved the fight scene between Anakin and Clovis. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. Just because, like, I mean, even without the Force and everything like that, it was just an ass kicking to see Anakin, lose it like that, and all of a sudden he can't control his anger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's had a tough time controlling his anger for a while now. While you're worried for Anakin for unleashing like that, Clovis kind of deserved it for like forcing himself on Padme. So like that part of me was really happy about it.
My favorite moment of it was when he's like, "Oh, why don't you fight me, on fair terms or whatever it was."
Without your
Clovis
Jedi
said.
powers,
Yeah. And Anakin smiled at that. He was so excited. He's like, "Yes, I will savor this."
Fisticuffs it is. Yeah.
Yes. So I think that was my favorite part of it. I do think that this was a degree of karmic, just on like a proud feminist level, that as Clovis is there saying the only reason not to force yourself on you is if you have a man in your life.
Yeah.
And Anakin's there saying, I demand as your husband and you get no say in this. I'm like, yes, Padme, reject both of these jerks because they are being just misogynistic and chauvinistic and complete assholes right now. Anakin is not a horrible person, at least not entirely yet.
Yeah.
But in that moment, he was being really pig-headed and very unattractive.
Yeah.
So I don't blame her for saying like, hey, this isn't making me happy right now. What would make you happy? Sorry, I asked. The other line that I loved, the great foreshadowing moment that they had in here, was when Padme talks about how there seems to be this other person inside Anakin and that she no longer feels safe. Knowing what happens, that Anakin does sort of have this dueling personality going on in him because he does become Darth Vader. It was a great moment of foreshadow in this scene for that to happen. It also made me think of when she talked about like you have this other side of you, this other person in you. It made me think about, all of us humans, we have a light and a shadow side. And one of I think it was like a Native American saying, and if I'm off base on that, I do apologize in advance. That's just where my brain is at. Where there are two wolves inside you. And the wolf of love and kindness and respect and warmth, and then a wolf of anger and bitterness and hatred and fear. Who you become is who you choose to feed. So if you feed the wolf of love and kindness and respect and generosity, that is who you will become. But if you feed the wolf of bitterness and anger and hate and resentment and fear, then that's who you become as a person. And I think it's easy to see now where Anakin is feeding, which wolf he's feeding inside himself. And we're also seeing how well manipulated the circumstances are to encourage him to move in that direction. He just does not have the normal sense of even keel demeanor and control over his own emotions and fears that a Jedi really should have.
Let us know what you thought about this down below in the comments. And if you want early ad-free access to our Clone Wars reactions, check out the description of this video. We got a link to our Patreon, as well as a link to a playlist. We can see all of our Clone Wars reactions here on YouTube. Thanks so much for checking out our reaction for the Clone Wars Season 6, Episode 6, but just keep in mind,
our reaction is definitely not definitive.